All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Planters Knowledge, where we get the opportunity to meet a variety of different authors and talk about their author's journey. I have an author that I happened to meet by chance at a career day, and just in the midst of us talking, he shared that he was a budding author. And it was like, all right, well, when you get your book together, let me know, and we're going to have you on the show. And sure enough, less than a year later, he turned around and he's like, tap, tap, tap. Here I am, and my book is coming. And so it was like, let's make this happen. I am hoping we will be able to support him this evening and do some pre-sales as his book will be coming out right before the holiday. So, Warren, please, first and foremost, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us. And let's start with telling people a little bit about you. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Sure. Kathleen, thank you so much for having me.
You're
and
welcome.
It was such a wonderful chance meeting through the day job.
Yes, right.
So, which is just as cool and exciting as some of the work that I'm doing as a writer. And so, a little bit about myself. I am an educator and a fundraising professional. My day job is I work at an education nonprofit in North Philadelphia, and I've worked in education in Philly for the past 15 or 16 years. And being an educator has really allowed me to lean into some other skills like being a writer, which is really a proud kind of moment from myself and someone who is around young people and can encourage young people as a positive role model to, chase some of your dreams. They're valid. You can do things that I think you can. So I live in Philly. I am a greyhound father. I have a fur baby. My wife is and we met here in the city, and I'm writing historical fiction. I also sit on the advisory board for Blue Stoop, which is a literary nonprofit here in the city. But it supports anyone who is in the greater Philadelphia region as well. A recent development. It's really a wonderful community to network with other writers and other readers in the city. That's a little bit about me.
That's so good. Thank you for sharing that. And I know I always tell my audience, please make sure you have a pen and paper or a tab open or something, because you are going to hear something that you want to either write down for self or you want to share with someone else. So just even that Blue Stoop Library, look, we only three literary nonprofit. We 3 minutes in, and you're already dropping information that we haven't heard before. So we want to make sure that we catch it. Of course, you can always hit the replay. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. It costs you absolutely nothing but a moment in time. There is no fee to subscribe to the Ask Dr. Walls 525 page. All right. So, as I was listening to you do your intro and you talked about how you've been doing fundraising and so forth, which is many times, someone who has written grants, there is a creative writing aspect to it at times. And I hadn't thought about it until you just said it.
Yes. I raise money by telling stories. And I am really privileged to be able to tell stories of our youth, to tell stories of our families, of our community. And that really connects and anchors me to being an involved and active member of, I didn't graduate from high school in Philly, which is kind of the get your wings of saying you're from Philly, but I've been here about 20 years. I did go to Drexel, and it's home. And so it's a privilege to be able to tell stories, whether that's in a written proposal or in a grant, like you said, or sitting face to face with a prospective donor who shares our values, that believes in our mission.
Yeah. So true. Now, may we ask where you originally from?
Originally from Syracuse, New York, and
Okay.
then my family moved down to Norristown
Okay.
in Montgomery County when I
Yeah.
was in middle school.
Okay.
Yeah, and Drexel brought me into Philly.
Okay. All right. We'll claim you. You're not too far away.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know, it's just a few minutes. It's all right.
yeah,
Okay.
not too bad. Thank you.
Okay. You got to go birds on you. It's all good.
Oh, absolutely. I got my Phillies hat in here too. I'm
Okay.
wearing it.
So now, so you have your quote unquote day job.
Yes.
Now, where this writing piece, when did you start to take an interest in writing?
I kind of dabbled in my 20s, like my early 20s. I wrote some poetry, which wasn't very good, and I wrote a couple of songs.
Oh,
I play guitar, and
okay.
I wrote a couple of songs which are actually a little bit better than my poetry.
Okay.
And I wrote a couple of sci-fi short stories for a class in college.
Oh.
And so I always enjoyed writing. I wrote long papers. I mean, I was an anthropology major, and then I got my master's in education. And so we wrote 10-page, 25-page papers continually, and I enjoyed that process.
Yes.
Creative writing, though, really came out of one of my first jobs outside of school, though. I worked for this company where I was headquartered in Boston, but I was traveling all year. I traveled to about 21 cities in 12 months. And
wow.
We were doing service projects, painting murals, planting trees, building outdoor classrooms. And I got to meet a lot of wonderful people in small towns and big cities, coast to coast. And so I found myself, I'm not someone who journals. It doesn't really, that internal monologue is always in my head. So writing it down just feels like redundant. But I found myself writing these like short sketches of interaction with someone, or like a beautiful vista, near where we were doing a project, or just like a touching interaction, a dialogue that I overheard somebody in the community. And so I had gathered all these short little, couple paragraph journal entries, I guess.
Yes.
Say. And that was in 2013. And I realized I just loved that process. And I love history so much.
Okay.
I like to study and learn about history. I've had a lifelong National Geographic subscription. My family has been so wonderful to invest in my education, and encouraged and inspired me to study about world cultures, study about things that are outside of myself, people than myself. And so in 2013, I wrote like a 1-page, wouldn't this be cool kind of idea for a story.
Okay.
But then 2020 came, and I found myself with a lot of time on my hands, like everyone else. And I gave myself permission to sit down and write every day. And I think writing was really a cathartic. I'm saying was because like that time in my life was really a cathartic process.
Yes.
Needed to unpack things that I swept aside, trauma, things I experienced, my own mistakes, things I made as a young adult. Just processing the world around me. And so I decided to write a historical fiction book. I've never written a novel before. And it was the book before the book that's releasing.
Oh, okay.
Like a starter story that I'm going to come back to, but I needed to get it out of my head.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. I know as people are thinking about writing and potentially becoming an author, because I know when I wrote my first book and people say, you're an author. I said, I'm not an author until somebody buys it. Other than that, in my mind, it was just another paper, you know? And so for me, I had to create symbolically a book. So, right, I printed, I cut it out, took it to Staples and had it bound and had this tangible thing that
Yeah.
looked like a book as
Right.
opposed to a term paper or a midterm or a final, right? I had to make that crossover in my own mindset that I am now an author. And so I share that to encourage people because sometimes people are saying, like, I want to write, but I don't know if I do it. What does it really mean to be an author?
Yeah.
And it's like these are little tricks of the trade, even as you mentioned, you wrote this one story. Now, that's not the one that's coming out, but it had to literally come out of you before this one that will now be released to the world could come out.
Exactly. And it's a really great, like, what a wonderful standard. I understand exactly what you're saying. You had to hold the book. It needed to be a finished product.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to buy it. My standard was a little lower. I just wanted to finish a manuscript.
Yeah.
That was for me that check mark of I'm an author.
That's right.
I've done the best of my ability at this
Yes.
point in my life to tell this story that I'm telling.
Yes.
And I would say that anybody, like, to your point of anyone who, excuse me, anyone who is passionate about articulating thoughts and feelings and ideas and wants to write something, what is that, like, nagging idea that just won't leave your mind, burrows in your head, it won't go away.
Yes.
You're ruminating about it 24/7 when you're driving, when you're taking a shower, when you're talking with friends, but you're checked out of the conversation. In the back of your head, what is that idea that won't go away?
Yeah.
And put that on paper, because that's the difference between wanting to write and writing.
Come on.
In my opinion.
Come on.
Yeah.
Y'all, he dropping knowledge. You better pay attention. It's the absolute truth. Those are those feelings that you get. And I think that's a common theme in all of the authors who I've interviewed over the past 3 years now at this point, is there is that quote unquote nagging thing.
Yeah.
That story that wants to be birthed. And I know I talked to one author last year who I met at an event, which you will be participating in the next couple of weeks, which we'll talk about. And she said that she started this one story, I think it was 1988 or 1989. And it just stayed with her for 30 years. She said it wouldn't go away. And of course, all types of life events got in the way of her, in the delay of her completing it, like getting married and having children and jobs and so forth. But I want to go back to a thing that you said was during 2020, you gave yourself permission to write every day.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that moment of kind of locking into that I'm going to be deliberate about this?
Yeah, this is a little bit of a tough story, but I know many of my friends and family obviously know about this. But my wife and I, we both were hit by a car as pedestrians in 2019. And it was, physically and emotionally traumatic. And it took, many months to recover. But the silver lining, it's so far in the past in my mind now. So there's a lot of things I can laugh about for it. We're both okay.
Thank God.
Ultimately, yes, indeed. But it literally and metaphorically rattled me to the core. Wow, I could be gone like that.
Yeah.
And we don't control so much around us. And when the pandemic hit and I did have all this time, I was having a bit of an early midlife crisis of what am I doing with myself, my life, and who am I? And if I were, God forbid, an accident were to happen again, or COVID, if I were to get sick, and what would I have been sad to have left on the table that I didn't do? And writing a story was very high on that list.
Wow. Look at that.
Right behind like traveling to certain
Yeah.
countries, which you couldn't do. And so reading atlases about different countries or time periods,
Yes.
digging into history and
Yes.
digging into other cultures, and then putting ideas on paper and telling a metaphorical story about things that I needed to get out of my system. I felt like I traveled the world in that time. And that's, I don't know if that sounds corny, but it's certainly, it was a lot of, I did have to give myself permission to say, now's the time.
Yeah.
If not now, when?
Yeah.
Just do it. Just put your butt in the seat and type away whatever it is, even if it's not great.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Start the process. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. And we never know what that catalyst is going to be, right? To move us into this space of writing. And so I like how, like I said, you sat down, you gave yourself permission, and then you started combining all of the things that you love. And obviously 2020, what did you actually have access to? But you found a way to still incorporate it, right? By looking at the atlas, by, your wanderlust and all of that. And then traveling through history. So you have this love of history that began when, and then when did you say, I'm incorporating this into my story?
I've always loved history, and it's I think like funneled through the prism of what media do I like to consume.
Okay.
I mentioned Nat Geo before.
I'm
a huge movie buff. I love movies. It was just a ritual as a family growing up to watch movies. If it's a Ridley Scott, a Guy Ritchie film, some kind of historical action, something. I love it. I played a lot of video games growing up. There's a lot of stories in video games that have really resonated with me, that have spoken to that love of history. But I think, in terms of bringing it to today, some of that inspiration and some of that desire to really focus on history is reading great books of authors that I admire, and wanting to really create an experience for myself first, as the first person reading my own writing, of processing what the world is like today through some kind of lens that's a little bit more distant. So it's not maybe as difficult to process the news, every day, or maybe it's not difficult to process some of the stuff that I was going through personally moment, but putting it through the lens of a character or a plot point was just really poignant to me. So I am an educator. I do have a little show and tell.
Come on.
It segues well here.
Yes.
But I have a couple books that really they've had a profound impact on me.
Okay.
And they've also influenced kind of when I got serious about writing.
Yes.
I said, well, what do I love about books, and what do I need to know to be writing? And so the first one is Ian Fleming's Casino Royale, which is the first 007 book.
Yes.
It's definitely, it's dated for the 50s. So, there's problems with the book. However, it's violent. It's fast paced. It's globe trotting. It's intriguing. There's espionage, thriller element, and I loved it. I just love it. I've read it a dozen times, and it has a feeling that I want to feel when I read a book.
Okay.
It's not a perfect book, but I don't know if that exists.
Yeah.
The next one I have that I want to share is Arturo Perez Reverte's Captain El Triste. He's a wonderful Spanish author.
Okay.
And Captain El Triste follows Diego El Triste as a veteran. There's geopolitical conflict with Spain and England. There's some steamy romance in it. There's
Okay.
sword play and masked vigilantes.
Uh-huh.
It's like a little boy's fantasy kind of book, like Robin Hood-esque.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for mature audiences. Excellent
Gotcha.
story.
Okay.
And then in writing history, I am particularly interested in medieval history.
Okay. Okay.
So medieval Europe, medieval Asia,
Mm-hmm.
and a fantastic nonfiction book to ground any idea in reality is a travel guide to the Middle Ages. It's by
Oh.
Anthony Bale, and he writes this guide as if you're going on a pilgrimage.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were living in the Middle Ages, and whether you're starting in modern day Beijing or modern day Amsterdam,
Yes.
Where would you go? How would you exchange currency?
Mm-hmm.
Who would you meet along the way?
Yeah.
And what are the sights, sounds, and smells of
Yeah.
Port
Oh.
City
Yeah.
versus
Yeah. Yeah.
versus a desert terrain versus the Silk Road? It's just
Yes.
this adds a lot of texture to what history was like. And so I'm not sure, Kathleen, if I answered your question.
No, you definitely did.
I'm so into history, and this is such a cool, I like action adventure stories and history that it's so filled with what we know and what we don't know.
Yes. Yes.
It's a lot of room to write in history and fiction stories that could resonate today too.
Yeah. I love how you as a reader, you're using your different resources to ground yourself in what you want to experience as a writer and feeling. So now we happily slide into brothels, the Pope, assassins, and all good things like that.
Yes.
So how did we get there?
Yeah, all right. So this is, I think, some really great and really bad writing advice is write what you know.
Yes.
Right.
If I knew how to raise this eyebrow right now,
just off the screen.
The people's eye. Write what you know, right? Okay, go ahead.
Yes. Okay. So what's good about that, and why, and how does that connect? It connects because what do I know? I know my life. I know I mentioned this is an experience I had. Yeah. This is who I was 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I'm cataloging and reflecting in my brain on my lived experience.
Yes.
And I also know, and it's so important as a writer for me, to be observing other people's interactions, their body language, how people, what subtext is being shared or not shared when there's an argument being had. Kind of just observing the world around me and observing other people. I know those things because I'm actively engaged in my life. So I can write about that. I don't know what it's like to be a woman, and my main character in my debut novel, The Blade of Milan, is a woman. I am very passionate about history, clearly, and there's a major misconception that women in medieval Europe, at least, had maybe significantly less value and contributions outside of maybe some really select figures in history that we know about. Women in medieval Europe, they brewed beer. Everyone drank alcohol because your access to water was not always so consistent. Clean water, that is. And women ran trade guilds that drove the economy in such positive ways. And women were also budding physicians.
Yes.
Oftentimes. And so, the knowledge of being a woman translated well to caretaking other individuals and using both kind of more medieval techniques and pushing the boundaries of medicine. And so, but what I am so passionate about too is this idea of there's an inequity. Not everybody is born into, it's random. I'm gonna curse here. So
Okay.
but some people hit the shit lottery, right?
Yeah.
You don't control where you're born, when you're born. And unfortunately, while there was opportunity for some individuals, there's not for others.
Yeah.
And how I got to my story was a combination of ingredients. I'll be brief, but one, it was myself at 23 years old. I was frustrated. I was dissatisfied. I felt like I was owed everything. I was 23 and arrogant, and I was good at some of the things I was doing, but I was also still a child in many ways. But I was searching for a purpose and community, and that I think that theme translates to for a lot of people's lived experience, that we're all searching for purpose. And so I threw that into my main character in this story. The story is an exploration of finding a higher purpose. I also pulled in some of the politicking of the time. The Pope and the Emperor they butted heads at this time in history in the 13th century. There was a lot of conflict locally and in the region in medieval Italy. And that's a really wonderful backdrop for other, like, interpersonal conflict.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of a homage to women that I know, and the real historical Rebecca. My book is there's a Rebecca de Guarna in history who's from Salerno in Italy, and she was a physician. Salerno housed one of the largest convents at the time, and the nuns there many of them were physicians. My Rebecca is just Rebecca Guarna, not Rebecca de Guarna.
Okay.
And I wanted to encourage someone who's a reader to do more research on history. Well, was she a real person? Wasn't she a real person? Why might there be some importance to that element, without spoiling my book? Why is there some element of importance to that for a story that's about the first woman to carve her way into a fraternity of assassins?
That's a twist.
Yes. I like an action adventure story.
Yeah.
I wanted it to feel true to the time period, but accessible for anyone reading it. That even if you don't.
That's such a great word.
Yeah,
that accessibility is very important, because when you are doing timepieces, for me as a reader, I like to be able to slide into it comfortably and without, because if not, my analytical mind is going to go crazy. Like, that doesn't even make sense. That's unrealistic. And then I'm out of the story and I'm fully into my own thoughts.
Yeah. And it's so subjective too, right?
Yes.
I spent hours worrying about, I made a deliberate decision with this to make it more accessible or less accessible or more accurate to the time period. I couldn't possibly change this thing or that thing. And I did before. I love cursing. Finding curse words for medieval Italy was a lot of fun. and some of the best ones were around then. So
interesting.
Yes. So there is some fun curse words in there that I really enjoyed including that are historically accurate. So, it was this interesting kind of debate that I had throughout the revision process of, okay, what must stay absolutely true?
Yes.
What might surprise a reader? And again, I want to encourage, because I enjoy movies, TV shows, books, where I have to let me go do some research on that.
Yeah.
My own. I enjoy that. And so I don't know if I 100% accomplished it, but that was my goal.
Well, I'm telling you, I'm cracking up because, number one, I never thought about researching curse words where they were in the world and what time period did they make their entrance to pop culture, so to
Yeah.
speak. So that's a whole new thought for me. So thank you for that, because I
Okay,
have a
good.
feeling I'm going to go down a little rabbit hole later on. So,
Good.
all right. And as a product of Catholic school, how's the Pope fit into all of this?
I am also a product of 12 years of Catholic school.
Okay, we're there together then.
Yes. Well, the popes throughout history and many leaders of the communes at the time. So there were republics, there were communes in Europe. There were territories, not necessarily countries as we know. Like the unification of Italy didn't happen until the 1800s, but there were allegiances always that juggled depending on a monarchy, depending on the economic benefit to a certain governor, which pope could stay in power the longest. There we're in 1285, which AD, which is the year my book takes place.
Okay.
We're coming to the close. We're in the last 5 years of the 1,000 Years Crusades. So you have this military aspect of sending all the young men to the Holy Crusades in exchange for eternal salvation.
Okay.
Go and fight this politically, economically, and religiously motivated war and multiple series of wars, right? They didn't know it was the end of that time period, but
right.
So the Pope was a major player in all of these elements.
Yes.
And the Pope sat in Rome, the Emperor sat in Austria, modern day Austria, and they both were major influencers of everyone in terms of not only their religion but their political beliefs and who they paid taxes to.
I gotta say business dealings, all of that, right?
Marriages, you know.
Yes.
They influenced all the trade guilds. They influenced who was sat in lower seat magistrates and judges, the lower seats of power, and so the Pope and the ideology of the institution of the church. It was important for me to include some of the faith ideas in my story because it's influenced me as a person and has such an impact on the world, a ripple effect on so many people. Even if you're not a religious or person of faith, which but it's not a religious book, but certainly part of it's the context of that era.
Was there any part of you, having had the 12 years, was there any part of you that felt conflicted in any way with some of what you wrote?
Yes. And that's because I have my own conflicting feelings about faith. And it was important for me to include that through the lens of the story, through the lens of some characters, the rituals of Catholicism, for instance, are, if any ritual can be very meditative, it can allow you to almost turn your thinking brain off and be in a space and be present and allow your brain to just reflect and untangle things in your head. And so I wanted to make sure that I included some of those elements, but there is a bit of some of my angst and thinking about me at 23. Where was I in my relationship with faith? And where could Rebecca be, having been dealt a difficult hand in life? How could, in the context of a world where there's so much superstition on top of such a we'll say overbearing, but not in a negative way, but just overbearing sense of religion, conflict of religions.
Yes.
How could you navigate as a young person? And there is that conflict is part of her emotional arc to some degree. Without it necessarily being, I think it's fairly balanced, but it's definitely present.
So now during this writing process, a couple pieces I want to check in with you. Did you have your wife take a look at it along the way, or did she have to wait until everything was finished?
No, and what I'm going to share is all in the context of, she is so supportive of my writing time and process. She has zero interest in reading anything that I write. And that's okay. It's
fair.
Yeah, we are on the same page. We don't like the same type of books.
Okay.
Our Venn diagram of TV and movie shows is such a sliver. And it's okay. But where I have really leaned on Julie is, again, there's an idea, there's a piece of dialogue, there's a thing that I just can't get out of my head.
Yeah.
And the limited knowledge that she knows about what I'm writing, which is more than limited.
I hear you.
We live together,
Yeah. Yeah.
I might just voice it, and then she's a great voice of reason. Let's think about this, and she doesn't hold back on an opinion. An opinion could be brutal, more brutal than, I can take it from her because I trust her.
Yes.
But getting beta readers,
beta
reader being someone who can read an early draft, someone that you trust to give you constructive and honest feedback, was essential in the process.
Yes.
And I've been really fortunate to have a wonderful network of beta readers who, after my first, I don't call it this, but it's been called a fast draft.
Yes.
You are familiar with. The story, I sat down and just got whatever was in my head out on the paper as quickly as possible. It was messy, but it was chronological. It was what I thought needed to be in the story. I put that 100-page manuscript in the hands of a few trusted beta readers, and then they poked all the holes in my logic.
Yes.
Said, wait, well, what's the motivation here? Why I was expecting X to happen, but Y happened. And then that's feedback is a gift.
Yeah.
And it was wonderful to receive. And much of it was taken into consideration, and some of it was not. But it told me how the work was being interpreted.
Yes.
And so then I was able to then go and make some deliberate decisions on a draft.
Yes.
And keep refining the process until the final draft.
So now when you got to the final draft and you realized you were at, I think it's 232 pages, is that correct?
Yes.
What did you think?
I thought I had a little tear in my eye. I'm not going to lie. I was sitting at the desk that I'm at now, and I felt like I had just run a couple miles all out, and I just this sigh of relief feeling, because was it perfect, that final draft? No. I had to print it a few times. I had to proofread it a bunch, right?
Yes.
I had an editor who did other editing components, but I did all the proofreading.
Okay.
And that was important for me to do after some time had elapsed. It was also a gut check. But it just felt like this weight off, and I could I'm sure you've written so many books. I bet you feel like you could revise, go back and
all the time
and rewrite it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, when do you stop? You just have to.
You do. Exactly. I remember when I did my dissertation and writing because it was over like 3 to 4 years of just research, writing, and so forth. And then finally, at one point, I sat with myself and I said, understand that this is the best that you're able to do right now. In a
Hmm.
couple years, you'll look at it and realize you could rewrite it a different way. But we got to, it's an assignment. You need to complete it and you need to, and that was just conversation with self.
Yeah.
Like there is a point, and then somewhere in my research years later, it was a reference to, I think it's called like the Shiva moment where you have to release it to the world. There,
Writing that down. The Shiva.
yeah, it's the Shiva moment, and it's just this idea that it does. There's a point of completion where then you release it. And for me, it was that knowing that at any point that I want to revise, that's why there's first edition, second edition, third edition, right?
Yeah.
But that first one got to get out.
Yes. Yeah. Have not heard that before. But I feel it.
Yeah.
Feel that. I felt that of
Hmm.
it's time.
Yeah.
It's time to be released. Thank you. I'm gonna
Yeah.
look
You're welcome.
more of the Shiva.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
So another thing that you mentioned, I almost don't want to jump in there yet,
Okay.
but I'm gonna go for it. I'm going for the gold. You mentioned as earlier about movies and different mediums. Have you considered this being in different mediums?
That's an awesome question. Something that I say to myself, and I've said again to like my friends who have followed me on this process, or my beta readers, or like Julie, I'll say, I know I'm not delusional. Like I know that I'm not, like what I'm doing is worth the time investment that I've put into it.
Yes.
And I think if I wanted to write something that was like fun and funny and light, and just like I could do that easily. There's nothing wrong with that. That's valuable.
Yes.
But I was pretty serious about this process, and I had fun with it, and I think it's fun. I think people will find it to be fun. But for a hobby where you spend hours dissociating,
yes,
it's easy to become delusional.
Yes.
And I say that respectfully, right? From my own experience. But yeah, if I could write things that are cinematic,
yeah,
that's the goal.
Okay.
I don't know the future, but I know that I've traded a lot of time where I would normally be watching a movie, reading another book, spending time in my own book.
Yes.
And because I prefer it.
Yes.
Over watching Kingdom of Heaven.
Yes.
For the 15th time, since it came over 20 years ago, right? So I prefer my world, my story to that. So it's something that I believe in, and I'm only releasing it in paperback and digital, like ebook.
Yes.
I don't know, maybe audiobook down the future. Future that could be a very reasonable next step.
Yes, I agree.
But yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
And so I am going on behalf of my mother. I'm going to encourage you to really consider audiobook. She was a reading specialist and an avid reader. And as she's gotten older and had a couple strokes, she's unable to read like she used to. And so audiobooks become her way to continue to stimulate that part of her mind. And so I know there's a tremendous population out there that need the audio book. Some people just like it because they're able to read and drive or be on the treadmill and so forth. But there is a population of people who actually need it and seek it. And so I really encourage you to consider that. And it's a way to also, if you do it yourself, and even in my books, I hire voiceover actors
Very cool.
to do the different characters, and that becomes a whole nother fun way
Yeah.
to work.
Yeah. Well, when it's an audiobook, your mom's got a copy for sure. But then, you mentioned at the top of our conversation, I wrote this started last year.
Okay.
And finished at the top of this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I had that Shiva moment you just described, where it's happening in 2025.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then what I wasn't expecting was how much I had to learn to get the physical book in my hand.
Real talk.
Right, from a Word document to the book.
Yes.
That you could buy today. Like,
yes.
It was like learning. It was like a course of one skill set after the next.
Yes.
I wasn't prepared for, and so I didn't want to do the audiobook at the same time.
For sure.
I was like, I'm barely, being an adult as it is. And it's like, this is my sole hobby, but I only have the same amount. I have the same amount of hours as anyone else.
That's right.
So I am excited to venture into that.
Yeah.
But we'll have to just take
it. Look, you already know, don't talk to me, because I have a whole bunch of ideas in my head for you, from comic books to all types of animation and so forth. So, but I want to ask this question that's in the chat room for you. Dr. Louise Wade, who you did get a chance to meet because she was the veterinarian at Career Day.
Hey,
she
Louise.
said, how did you go about finding an editor for such a unique genre that this literary piece falls into?
I did a lot of research, and that's like I guess an obvious thing to say, but I did a lot of research on independent and small presses. There are like the big 5 publishing houses. I'm independently publishing this.
That was going to be my next question to you. Okay.
To clarify, like right up front, I'm independently publishing it, which can look like a lot of things, but has been a hybrid of me driving a lot of the different parts of the process, plus some professionals driving part of the process in terms of the editing, and then the professionals creating the cover. That's something that I would never be able to do. And some of the copy editing, so making sure that grammar, spelling, punctuation, the interior format checks out, stuff. So it was kind of a hybrid in that sense, but not discounting an independent or a small press. There are so many nationally. Universities have presses that have editors that are interested in certain topics and genres. There's mixed. Everybody has an opinion on the internet, right? So there are mixed reviews about every platform you could use. And so it's not a plug for them, but I did use Reedsy.
I'm not familiar with them. How do you spell that?
It's REEDSY.
Okay.
And it's a marketplace for individuals like myself who are looking to publish a book, and they connect you to professionals who have been vetted.
Okay.
Developmental editors, as copy editors, as book marketers, individuals who have worked in the industry for a period of time. And you can then essentially create a profile for what your story is, or which service you're trying to acquire.
Yes.
And you put out up to five kind of bids, if you will, based on the profile of that professional.
Got you.
So I found a developmental editor through Reedsy, who works at independent press in New York, who loves historical fiction, who likes action adventure stories, who
good fit.
Just was really the response to what my story was.
Yeah.
Felt authentic.
Nice.
And then as we worked together, it was authentic. There was a passion for not overpowering anything that I was doing or saying, but really enhancing.
Mm-hmm.
And the editing, it was a really wonderful process of, have you considered this, or
Yeah.
these were the things that really landed. Reread this paragraph.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost like little soft touches
Yes.
me from point C to D
Yeah.
process. I would recommend, there's probably other outlets. There's an independent editors association.
Okay.
I'm forgetting the full name of it now, but
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like an editors union.
Okay.
You're an
Okay.
editor, let's say you work at Penguin,
Mm-hmm.
Random House, you can join this association because
Mm-hmm.
you're essentially accredited.
Yes.
And again, it's a marketplace where authors and budding authors can connect with and hire someone to do like a freelance project
Yes.
with you. And I just love the idea of it. Call me a control freak, but I love the idea of producing something and producing it myself. And
yeah,
I like a DIY project, and this is
it.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm independent as well. Now, look, let's take a look at this cover real quick.
Okay.
Let's talk about that. How did this come to pass?
Oh, this is so cool. I'm just like, this is on my bookshelf right now. I have it on my desk right now. It's right here.
Oh, there it is. Oh, look at, wait. Where's mine?
Oh, thank you.
There it is. You're welcome.
It looks like a book I want to read.
Yeah.
And I've worked with a professional designer.
Okay.
I also found him through Readsy.
Okay.
So you can find designers and illustrators. I know Fiverr, Fiverr.
Yes.
Fiverr and Upwork are also places where you can find illustrators and designers and editors.
Yeah.
I didn't use those platforms. But again, there was an enthusiasm for what the story was about. And of the individuals who contacted me and said that they'd be interested, my designer was the only person who said, I'm going to read your whole book.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to read it because I want to know it. I want to understand it. I want to feel it. And he came back with, I think, 3 or 4 different cover options. And then we went back and forth a couple times of, this thing's just not working. This is it. This is the feeling. Can we do this? Can we accentuate that? I mean, it was a DIY feeling.
Yeah.
With a professional who could advise me too on, oh yeah, that's an easy fix. I can fix that for you. Here's a quick edit to, I think you might want to consider this style or that.
Yeah.
And
it's a gorgeous cover.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm proud of him. I'm proud of us. I'm proud of it. It's really, like I said, it's a cover that I want of a book I want to read.
You used a word earlier when we started the conversation, when you were talking about creating an experience, and you said, intrigue. Like, that cover gives me intrigue. And then I look at the title and my eyes just go back and forth between the two. And it's just like, what is going on under there? And what is going on down that alley? And where is that person going? Or where did that person just come from? Like, that cover elicits all of that inside of me to even just make me want to flip over to the back of the book.
Oh, good.
To go, what is this thing about? And I'm not just saying it because it's you. I'm telling you, that's what's happening when I'm
blushing. You see me?
Yes.
Thank you, Kathleen. That's a wonderful compliment. Thank you.
Yeah. You both nailed it. And to have someone say, I'm going to read it so that I can fully immerse myself and work with you to capture it, that's the type of collaborative process that I hope independent authors are able, any author, traditional, independent, that you have with your team. I know with me and my illustrators, it's that same back and forth, which makes the process more engaging, as you talk about, like grounding you, and you get a chance to really feel the momentum as it's moving along.
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, people who are in the chat room listening, please know I have placed the links. The books are available for pre sale. And currently, you can go to Amazon. Where else can they go, Warren?
Barnes and Noble and Bookshop. And then on the release day, on November 18th, you could go to my website and buy it directly from my website if you would rather do that as opposed to those other outlets.
All right. So I'm encouraging you all. Look, it's $12.99. It's $6.99 on Kindle. Y'all know coffee and a meal costs more than that. You can support an independent author here on his first work. And I think it's always important to support as well as to encourage. And if you want to find out about a pope, some power, some brothels, a little bit of history, this is definitely a way to go. Some intrigue and all of that. I think it's a great gift, as you talked about, even just coming off of streaming platforms and coming off of other mediums, and let's get back into the creative mind. Let the words tell the story. Let someone else tell a story to you as you're creating this imagery in your head until we get to the movie, the web series, whatever, the Netflix series. I'll speak all of that overview if that's what you desire. So
we have to speak it out to manifest it.
That's right.
Thank you.
Right. You're welcome. You're welcome.
I approve all of the
You
above.
approve? Well, okay. So now, and then we'll have some cosplay where people be dressing up like these characters. It's all good.
Myself included. Why not?
Exactly. So now you have a couple events if people would like to. Let's say they do the pre-sale, they have the book, and they say, hey, I want to come get it autographed. Where can they come? And if they decide they want to buy it in person from you, when can this happen?
Well, where is the Plymouth Meeting Mall Book Fest, which is on Saturday, November 22nd from 11 to 5. I'm very honored. I'll be with 39 other local authors at the mall with copies, signing copies of my book. Like Kathleen said, if you already have a copy by that point, it's amazing for your shipping. I don't know how that would happen because it comes out on Tuesday, but you can definitely grab a copy there. And Santa will be at the mall that day. So if you have kids, not for my book, but for Santa, Kathleen, you participated in the past, and
I did.
There will be children authors.
Yes, there will.
Book authors there as well. So there's a little bit of something for everyone.
There definitely is.
Come and say hi.
Yeah, definitely do so. And I encourage you all, stop by the Plymouth Meeting Mall that day. Do you remember what hours? Is it like 10 to 5, 10 to 4? Do you remember?
11 to 5.
11 to 5.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. I'll tell you, as a vendor, when someone comes by to speak, say hello, meet you, get you to sign a book, it's such a wonderful feeling. And as your first baby off the shelf, I really want people to come and show you that love and support that day it is. So you're not sitting there like, did I, there is a purpose for it. You are definitely inspiring people. Dr. Wade did send a message. She said, congratulations to you. She said, oh, Wade, I remember him from, this is so wonderful. Yeah. So congratulations to you there. Everyone, November, give us the date again, November 12th?
18th.
I'm trying to make it come sooner because I got to find out what's going on. But
I know, me too. I wish it was here now, but it's okay. November 18th.
Yes, November 18th. And his website is in the chat room, as well as the link to Amazon, but it is also available on Barnes & Noble and other platforms. Again, it's $12.99 for the paperback. It is $6.99 for the ebook. I say support an author, and let it be Warren.
Thank you, Kathleen.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for such an engaging and vibrant conversation as always, and for this platform. Thank you to everyone who's here, who spent the evening with us.
Yes.
I'm really grateful, and like I said, I'm proud of the Blade of Milan. Hopeful to share it and have conversations. Even if you want to argue with me about something about it, I would love to just have conversations around the story. So thank you.
Fantastic. All right, everyone. So until we meet again, I am on next Tuesday for Walls of Wellness at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So be sure to join me then. But until then, as always, God bless and continue to live your greatest life. And we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot, Warren.
Thank you, Kathleen.
All right. Have a great night, everyone.